Dragonflight beta is now out for testing, and with it came a bunch of changes to both the Havoc Demon Hunter spec tree and the Demon Hunter class tree. Not all these changes were good. A lot of them, honestly, were pretty bad, and in this video, we're going to go over it and talk about it. Before we get into the changes, I would just like to say that a lot of my viewers who watch this channel aren't subscribed. We just recently hit 550 subscribers, so I really appreciate all the support and everything. We're going for as high as we can, and we're going to be doing a giveaway to all my subscribers based on how many subscribers we get before Dragonflight comes out. I really appreciate all the support and everything, so if you like this video or you want to see more, subscribe, leave a like, drop a comment down below on your thoughts, and I really appreciate everything, and let's get into the video. Alright, so new beta trees. Now, I'm over here in Orgrimmar at the hidden training dummies, because the ones over in the main drag area are crowded, because it's beta, so there were a ton of new invites, and everyone's testing everything out. But, new trees. So, we'll start with the class tree, then we'll do the spec tree. Class tree, not too much has changed, however, there have been some pretty impactful changes. Also, you can't be level 70 on the beta right now. I guess you can if you level up all the way through Dragonflight. I don't want to do that at the moment. I don't have time. So I just copied over my retail character. So I have some gear. The stats aren't as bad as like the level 60 template you make. But I can't show you level 70 talents or anything like that. So we're missing 5 talent points for each tree. We're missing 5 class 5 spec. But we'll do our best and work from there. So, class tree here, first changes. First thing you'll notice, Hot Feet is moved here. So Hot Feet used to be over here, in this area, and that gives you an extra Fel Rush charge. This is where the glaive throwing was before. That has been moved down here and combined with Masters of Glaive, so that's good. They also swapped Imprison and Bouncing Glaive, so you kind of have to just take Imprison now, which is fine, whatever. Up here, nothing else has changed until you get down to this choice now. Now this, I think, is a really bad change. This is a really bad change, especially for us. So what they did basically is they took Aura of Pain, which is the crit strike chance. They buffed it by 1%, so it went from 5% to 6%. And they put it a choice note against Fellblade. Which pretty much means that if you're going to run like Rage Fire or something like that, you basically can't use Fellblade. But you really want to use Fellblade in single target, because that wasn't the only change they did. They've also moved some of the Fury Generation stuff from the bottom. So we'll take Fellblade. We'll just click through here. You can see that the old talent used to be here, so that's gone now. All this is basically the same. Of course, this gives you 2 throw glaive charges now. That's all basically the same. Demonic is still here. There we go. Nothing else has changed too much. Down here, still the same. They swapped Sigil of Silence and Sigil of Misery. So you kind of have to get Silence to go down here now. They also moved around some talents. So Demon Muzzle's here now. And you also get like a parry increase. So, okay, so we have Elysian Sigil in our spec tree still. And if that ends up being really good, then you're going to go down here just to get Quicken Sigils so that you get Elysian Sigil more often. I don't think that's very fun. I don't think having to go down to get all these 5 points here is very good for Havoc in general. I don't think it's enjoyable. I don't think it's like a cool thing. So I hope that gets changed, but that's just based on basically Elysian Decree tuning. Everything else is still the same. You still have the Hunt, all that. You still have Blur. However, instead of Demonic Appetite here, we now have Erratic Fellheart, which basically just reduces the cooldown Fel Rush by 15% per point. It's 2 points, so that's 30% CDR. Reduction, sorry. So right now it goes... It doesn't actually work, I guess. So you take it, and it won't actually change. It'll still be at 10. This is weird. So this interacts with momentum because this kind of increases your momentum uptime, right? 30% off of 10 is around 3 seconds, which would put you down to about 6 seconds, which means you can have pretty much full uptime momentum again. And I think this is just always going to be an issue with momentum for kind of as long as these things are on the tree. But that's kind of it for these changes. So the biggest thing really was just taking Hot Feet, moving it up here, putting Imprison and Bouncing Glaive through each other here. I don't know how much I agree with that change. And then obviously, of course, also moving out Demonic Appetite and replacing it with Erratic Fellheart. So Demonic Appetite's on the spec tree now, so you have to spend points on it, which is bad. I still think that Blur is weird behind Chaos Nova. It doesn't make sense. You have to take a stun to get your personal. I still think there's tons of issues with this side of the tree. You kind of want to go down here anyways now to get Master of the Glaive because it has 2 Glaive charges, which is important for Havoc. But this whole side of the tree just feels incredibly bad. Especially just to get the maximum health, you have to take the 5% fire damage heal, and then you don't even want to take these. I guess Concentrated Sigils is technically a damage increase, but you don't really want to put your sigils at your location. It's kind of a waste of a point. You're just taking this because it's less bad than these two. And then down here, it's just fairly useless, but we might have to go down it because of Legion Decree. So those are the spec trees. Not a lot has changed. Sorry, class tree, not a lot has changed. Now we're going to move on to the spec tree. And the spec tree, there's lots of changes. So obviously, I-beams start. So this choice node here between Insatiable Hunger and Demon Blades got moved up. I still think that's fine. Chill Ruin down here. I had a video talking about these things. However, we now know what like a bunch of different changes is, so I'll try and keep this brief. We know what this glaive button does. So it's Moarg's Bionics. So throw glaive deals increased damage for each enemy hit. I think this is really good, especially with Fel Bombardment and Soul Rend. Both of these don't really work on beta right now, but I do think that it's good with this change here with Moarg Bionics. I think it'd be pretty good. Chaos Strike, whatever, Proof Fel Rush damage, all this we've seen before. Now, Demonic Appetite's up here, which I don't like. Basically, Demonic Appetite was like a free thing down here. But they ended up moving it up into the Havoc tree, and they buffed it, so each Soul Fragment has 30 Fury. You needed 2 points for that before. Again, I don't think that's that good, because it's going to just end up restricting us in what we can take, right? We've basically lost a lot of Fury generation as well. Basically, all our Fury generation is going to come from Demon Blades, Fell Blade, and Tactical Retreat, which I'll get to in a second. But otherwise, I think it's fine. I don't know. I still think this would be better off in the class tree, because you don't really want to get it unless you have a point, but there's still a lot of points that we want to be spending in a lot of different areas, so there's that. Everything else down here is pretty much unchanged from the video I talked about. Trail Ruin, Relentless Onslaught, and Burning Wound are still here. Relentless Onslaught is 2 points still, which I think is very dumb, and you have to go through it to get to Burning Wound and or Growing Inferno. I don't like that. I still think this side of the tree is really bad and needs to be rethought and reorganized, but whatever. Initiative works now. Very cool button, very fun. We have Unbound Chaos, we have Tactical Retreat. We'll get 2 points here, get a point here, and we'll unlock the final row. So, here's where the bad stuff starts. So, momentum is basically, you just got to take it. Especially with Erratic Felcore, you're just going to have 100% uptime on it with how much Vengeful Retreat you get, how much Fel Rush you get. You want to be using these buttons anyways, because this is just a really strong 4 things of points to put in. You want to just be using it as much as you can. I, for one, don't like momentum. I think the gameplay is interesting, but I don't like having to use all of your movement on non... Like, you have to use all of your globals on non-damaging buttons to get movement out of it. So I really hope that they consider, I don't know, putting it off on the side. It's not an important link, or just doing something to make it so it's not where you want to go into it. Because you want to go into Know Your Enemy and Essence Break, which I'll get to. But Isolated Prey blocks it from the other side, which basically means you cannot take, you can't really go down here unless you're in pure single target. Because Isolated Prey just doesn't do anything unless you hit one target, right? So I still think Isolated Prey is a problematic node here. I think if they just swap these two, it'd be better, but we can't. They didn't, so here we are. Know Your Enemy was nerfed. Now currently these 2 points don't actually do anything, so that's weird. I imagine it's 2 points to get 100%, which is fine. I still think Know Your Enemy is a really good button. You're always going to want this. Essence Break is here. So Essence Break hits like a truck now. It's a 40-second cooldown, and then you basically increase your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance damage by 100% for 4 seconds. I'm going to do a video on this, but this is a really cool button. I really like this redesign. Really happy with this. More thoughts on that to come in another video. And then down here, the other new thing, they removed Fodder to the Flame. We don't know what's going to come here. Cycle of Hatred is changed now, so it no longer scales with crit. However, Blade Dance, Chaos Strike, and Glaive Tempest all reduce the cooldown of I-Beam. So this is really good. This is going to have benefit in AoE. However, you don't really want to ever come down here because these 3 talents are all really bad. So Chaotic Transformation is just a sorry excuse for talent point. Metamorphosis, giving you Blade Dance and I-Beam reset every 4 minutes, is a really bad point. Likewise, these 2 things don't really synergize with the things below it, again, and they're bugged and don't work very well. And they lead into Cycle of Hatred and Shadow Destiny, which are 2 really strong talent points. However, just because all these 3 are here, you have to put in these bad points. I don't think you'd ever really come down here, especially because of how mandatory these 5 points on the side are now, how strong Your Enemy and Essence Break are. I don't think you'd ever really come down here. Ragefire being over here is also really problematic because all the talents you want with Ragefire are on this side, so you do have to give up some stuff to come down and take Ragefire. So I don't think you'll ever really take it, especially with how Essence Break is currently. Essence Break is really strong. So I think this is bad. I still think Ragefire should be moved. Any means necessary, I don't think is actually as good as it came out to be. I don't know if it works with Ragefire. You literally do not have the talents to be able to test them together right now, because you need, I think you need 1 more or 2 more talent points to be able to do it. But because we're level 60, you can't test it. So I don't know if this works with the explosion. And then all these points don't work, and then you still need to get Burning Wound to come down and get Glaive Tempest. I think the tree, the pathing of the tree is worse than it was before. There's a lot of conflict that you really don't want. All these talents don't synergize together at all. They're just kind of randomly thrown in there. These 5 points are way too strong and centralizing, especially with Erratic Felcore. And these are basically mandatory now, which really limits your choices in other parts of the tree. And then these things in here are just way too bad and restrictive. However, I really like the new Cycle of Hatred change. Blade Dance, Chaos Strike, Glaive Tempest, all reducing ID is really good. It means it has impact on AoE, or impact when you're using Blade Dance single target, which you probably still will with First Blood. Right? I still think Isolated Prey needs to change. I really hope they just swap Ragefire and Sigil, and whatever this is going to end up being, and that'd be a much better change. Then you can actually have some interesting builds, interesting choices. But I still think they need some work. I think this is actually worse than our tree before, because we lost a lot of options with moving things. Demonic Appetite in here, rearranging stuff. Momentum is still pretty necessary, which is not good in my opinion. Essence Break is Pog. We'll have a video on that. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, they also nerfed this. There you go. So it's 0.1 seconds per 6 Fury spent instead of per 5 Fury spent, which in the grand scheme of things isn't too big of a deal. You're still going to be generating a fair bit of Fury and spending it. We do have less Fury generation now than we did before. However, taking Vengeful Retreat and taking Fellblade, you're still going to have a fairly different Fury generation. One other thing, if you do end up taking Ragefire, you lose out on Fellblade. So you actually have a very poor Fury generation without that. So I do think that our point expenditure, like how much points you're spending in each things, still needs to be looked at. These being here as well, you're not really ever going to take them still. You can, because they do path down. But the other nodes they're against, Trail of Ruin, Furious Gaze, and Initiative, are just way stronger than they are. So I still think that these could be moved or made a little bit better. And I still think these nodes need to change. And yeah, so there are some issues. But overall, the new things are cool. And I really do like where the tree is going. Let me know your thoughts down below. I know this is a bit of a recap video of what we saw before, but the fact that some of this stuff is in-game now, we can actually look at it and talk about it, is really cool. I'll have a video over the coming weeks of dungeon gameplay for Havoc. I'll have one where I go over Essence Break in depth, and I want to go over the new demonic stuff as well. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like, comment down below if you agree with me, disagree with me, how you think of the tree changes, and hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it. I really appreciate it. So thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time.